Last season, Kansas City won the AFC West for a sixth straight season in a row. They went 12-5, and they lost to the Cincinnati Bengals in the AFC Conference Championship game. Now, there are a good amount of people out there who believe that the Kansas City Chiefs are just going to take this major step back, all because they lost Tyreek Hill. And listen, I understand that Tyreek Hill is a phenomenal player. He's able to impact the game in so many ways, special teams, on offense. Anytime he touches the football, he is a touchdown waiting to happen. But I think that for the people who think that Kansas City is going to miss the playoffs and they're just going to have this big fall off, I think they're being really disrespectful to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, because those are the two main cogs for the success in Kansas City. As long as they have Patrick Mahomes and the big red machine, I don't have any concerns about Kansas City making it to the playoffs. Now, this offensive line still happens to be one of the best in the NFL. You're still going to have a very solid group of wide receivers. It's not like the Kansas City Chiefs have one of the worst wide receiving corps in the NFL. You signed Juju Smith-Schuster, who is one of the best slot receivers in the NFL. Very physical. He is going to bring really good run blocking to your run game. You also have MVS, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who is a very good deep threat. Don't know how good he could be as a potential number one. But you also do have rookie Sky Moore and undrafted rookie free agent Justin Ross, who a lot of Chiefs fans are really excited about. And then you have Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce pretty much was the number one wide receiver in Kansas City. And that may be a hot take to some people, but if you go and you look at the numbers, Travis Kelce has received more targets than Tyreek Hill, and he has caught more passes than Tyreek Hill consistently. So for me personally, I don't think that Kansas City is going to have this giant fall off. And that's why, for me, my worst case scenario for Kansas City is 10-7. I cannot see this team losing more than 7 games this year. If they win less than 10 games, I would be extremely shocked. And I'm willing to put money down that Kansas City is going to get to at least 10 wins, because this team is just too talented for this giant fall off that a lot of people are predicting. The wide receiver position is a position that can be easily replaceable. I mean, the Pittsburgh Steelers have great wide receivers that come in and out consistently. You know, it's not about the receiver. It's about who's throwing the football. If you have an elite quarterback such as Patrick Mahomes, he can take a average to above average wide receiver and turn him into a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. Now, I'm not saying that he did that with Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill was putting up numbers way before Patrick Mahomes became the starter for the Chiefs. All I'm saying is this. Yes, Tyreek Hill is a loss, but the Kansas City Chiefs have other ways to make up for that loss with the additions that they have made at wide receiver over the course of this offseason. I think that Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be really phenomenal in this offense. On top of that, you're going to have Mecole Hardman, who potentially could end up breaking out and filling the role of Tyreek Hill. Now, he's not as explosive and as fast as Tyreek Hill is, but he's also one of the fastest players in the NFL, in my opinion. And with how good this offensive line is, Patrick Mahomes is still going to have pretty much all day to throw the football. And on top of that, you bring in Ronald Jones, so you're going to have the 1-2 punch of him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I think that this offense is going to be better in some capacity without Tyreek Hill, because there were a lot of times when Patrick Mahomes was forcing the football to Tyreek Hill. Just go back to the AFC Conference Championship game. There were several interceptions that Patrick Mahomes threw when he was just trying to do too much, and it was all predicated on trying to get the ball to Tyreek. So I think now with the fact that Tyreek is gone, you're going to have Patrick Mahomes now who's going to be a little bit more efficient with the football. He's not going to be trying to force things downfield to Tyreek Hill. He's going to be more willing to take what the defense gives him. Now, that's just my assessment. Some of you guys may disagree with that, but I think that when you look at the numbers and how Patrick Mahomes has played without Tyreek Hill, he's been really good. So I really can't see this team winning less than 10 games unless the defense just completely falls off and Kansas City's offense can't keep up with being able to outscore everybody. And that's really my biggest concern. My biggest concern when it comes to the Chiefs is this defense. Is the pass rush going to be there? Because outside of Chris Jones, you don't really have anybody who you can constantly depend on to give you a consistent pass rush. You don't have anybody on this defensive line who you can look at and say, oh yeah, man, like I trust him to give me at least 9, maybe 10 sacks. Now you're hoping that George Karlaftis can be that guy right away from you as a rookie, but we don't know yet. So the secondary also is a big concern. Outside of L'Jarius Sneed, I don't really have any confidence in whoever's going to be the second cornerback outside of him. Is it going to be DeAndre Baker? You get what I'm saying? Like, it's just a lot of questions when it comes to the cornerback position and the pass rush of Kansas City. So, worst case scenario, 10-7, only because I don't think it's going to be the offense. I think it could be their defense that holds them back from being able to win more games than 10. Now, my best case scenario is 13-4. If everything goes right for Kansas City and they're able to find another guy on that defense who can provide a consistent pass rush out of Chris Jones, I think that's going to help out the cornerback position because then those guys aren't going to have to be in coverage for that long. And the back end of the secondary, when you look at safety, is still pretty good. You got Juan Thornhill and you signed Justin Reed, who is going to be replacing Tyrann Mathieu. Justin Reed has been one of the more underrated defensive backs in the NFL for over the last couple of years. Although he did have a pretty poor season last year with the Houston Texans, overall he has put out a consistent body of work, so I think that he's going to have a bounce back year this year. On top of that, Steve Spagnuolo has been one of the better defensive coordinators in the NFL for over the last, 2-3 seasons. He has always found the way to get the most out of this defense. Now, sometimes the defense does have slow starts to the season, but normally they pick up steam around the middle portion of the year. So I think for Kansas City, with Steve Spagnuolo still remaining as your defensive coordinator, this defense should still be at least a top 16 defense. Now, offensively, if you win 13 games, that just means that Tyreek Hill wasn't that big of a loss anyway. That means that either Mecole Hardman stepped up and became the player that we have all expected him to become when he was drafted out of Georgia a couple of years ago. You have Travis Kelce still putting up godly numbers at the tight end position. Your offensive line is still really good. And then Patrick Mahomes is still being one of the best quarterbacks in the league and showing everybody that, hey, I don't need Tyreek Hill to prove to everybody that I'm still one of the most talented and one of the best quarterbacks in this league. You feel me? I just kind of think that it's dumb that people are really doubting Kansas City. Honestly. You get what I'm saying? Why do people underrate the value of having a great head coach? Having a great head coach can elevate you. When you have a great head coach, it doesn't matter who you lose because you have that next man up mentality. So many people are just so enthralled and in love with the skill position in the NFL, and the skill position is one of the most replaceable positions in the NFL. Is a reason why positions like running back and wide receiver don't have a long-term range of success in the NFL, because wide receiver play only really lasts you about maybe 5 years at best that you're going to get elite level play from that position. Okay, it's hard to find a elite level tight end that can be consistent for 7+ years. It's hard to find a consistent quarterback that can be great for your franchise and lead you to the postseason for a decade. It's hard to find a franchise level left tackle. There are other positions that are hard to replace than wide receiver. So I kind of think that, 13-4 is going to be my best case scenario for Kansas City. My overall record prediction for the Chiefs this year is 11-6. And the reason why I have them losing 6 games and why I don't have them at 12 wins is because I don't trust the cornerback position. And I don't know if that pass rush is going to be there. Now, maybe they can trade for Robert Quinn or somebody like that, but I just don't have a lot of confidence that this secondary is going to be all that great. I'm not worried about the back end. I'm particularly worried about the cornerback position. And a lot of the teams that they face this year are really good passing teams. I mean, you're facing the Arizona Cardinals and the LA Chargers to start the season off. The Arizona Cardinals are going to be a really good team on offense, not just when it comes to running the football, but now with the fact that you're going to have Marquise Brown there. I think that he's going to be a solid replacement until DeAndre Hopkins comes back. So I think that you could have some problems with them. The LA Chargers, we already know what happens with this offense when it comes to the Chargers and how explosive they are with Justin Herbert. They're able to generate a lot of big plays. Mike Williams is coming off a career year. You also got to play the the Las Vegas Raiders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Buffalo Bills. I mean, for Kansas City, if you can't have a pass rush the first 4 or 5 games of the year, you could find yourself in a situation where you have to outscore everybody to win. And Kansas City has done that in the past, but are you going to be able to do it at a consistent level this season? That's where my questions are going to lie. So I don't really have concerns about the offense. I know that the offense is going to be able to put up points, but is this going to be an offense that's going to be able to be good enough to outscore everybody without Tyreek Hill? That's where my concern with losing Tyreek Hill is going to lie. Because when you had Tyreek Hill, you had somebody who was a threat to touch the football and take it to the house almost anytime he got his hands on it. So without him now, you're not going to have as many explosive big play touchdowns without him. You're going to have to be more efficient. So when you're going against, the Raiders and the Buccaneers and Arizona and the Chargers, teams that can put up points in bunches, that pass rush is going to have to be there. And I don't know if it's going to be consistent enough for Kansas City to be able to pull off a 12-win season. That's why I have them at 11-6.